It's often that we can come across a design issue when we're working on our black books and running out of space. And so in these next couple of videos, we're going to be showing you different techniques of how you can expand on your black book investigations on the spaces, like so you don't have to go over to another page, and it makes it more dynamic to look through. There's different techniques like easy like tabs to pull over and to kind of hide information, lots of layering techniques that just makes it a little more interactive and interesting to look at. We've already used like a large format accordion fold technique within our contour line drawing, but now we're going to kind of do a couple different ones. And this video is for the flip format of like a little mini book that I could place inside my black book. This would be really great for different vocabulary or different like small examples that I print out from like your creative that you can kind of cut up and assemblage or photo montage onto these little books. These can be really helpful and they take up a little bit of space. So for this one, I used a pretty flimsy, crummy cotton or copy paper. It's 11 by 17 and it produces a size this big. This one I'm going to make for this example is going to be smaller. So it's pretty easy. It's just fold in a couple cuts. So the first thing we want to do is have your hamburger, and you can do this either way. If you want a book that flips this way, you can cut it one direction, but if you want one that flips up on the short side, you can do it that way too. So just experiment and have fun with it. There's no right or wrong answer for this. You want to make your folds as even as possible. I like to kind of dent it, hold it on the end that I want, and go through there. Go ahead and open it up, and now you want to bring each end to the middle. You're going to break this book down into 1/16 of a page, and that's the size you're going to get. Sorry, my video's a little wobbly. And take that to the center and crease. And I'm going to do the same thing but in a different direction. So I'm going to make a middle fold here, just in half. I go from my point to point, hold it down, and go through. This is a thicker paper, so it's going to crease a little more difficult than the thin paper. And I open it up. But on this paper, I can use, this is a mixed media paper, I'll be able to use watercolor or just play a little more rough with this one versus the one I made out of the simple copy paper. The copy paper one would be good for notes or if I wanted to glue things on it. But this kind of paper would be nice for me to actually like work in it. It's got some tooth to it. Oops, that was a messy fold. I'm gonna line up my lines and my corners and fold. Now, if you want a book that flips on its long end, you would make your cuts going this way. If you want a book that flips on your short end, you would make your cuts going this way. And it's basically the same pattern. So it's alternating. So if I'm gonna cut this line all the way to here is my stop point. And then I'm gonna do the opposite. I'm gonna cut this one all the way, the crease all the way to this point. And then on my last one, I'm gonna start from this side and go all the way to this point. Make sure you can see your creases nice. I'm kind of losing a little bit of line. So now I start cutting. Try to cut on that line as even as possible. I prefer to use an X-Acto and the straight edge for this. See, I'm already like changing out my paper because I'm cutting kind of far away. Okay, and then I'm gonna do the opposite. Make sure not to cut all the way. That would be a bummer. And so you can see from the folds how big my pages are gonna be. So even though this is a smaller book, it's pretty substantial. Like I'm happy with the page size. And then I am gonna alternate and go this way. And then this is referred to as an accordion book, not because it folds all the way out, but because as you're folding it to put it together, it's alternating folds like you would make an accordion, or like one of those fun paper fans you would make when you're hot. Okay, so now I'm gonna start folding. I can go in, and I'm gonna go against my initial fold. That's okay. Out, in, and then I'm gonna fold it down, just the opposite. I'm not gonna fold it over because then I'm gonna lose all my pages. Again, I'm gonna do it slowly. So I'm gonna fold in, then back, then forward, then back, crease as I'm going, then forward, then backward, crease as I'm going. I can feel that my folds weren't super solid because it's kind of off center. See? This wonkiness, that's fine. I can make a book cover to make up for that actually. So I can hide it, make it look like I did it on purpose. Oh my gosh, look how, this is what happens when you don't fold. Your folds aren't plumb. And then back, and then I'm alternating, and my last alternating. So now I have a book that can open, do it this way, like this, and kind of, now keep in mind some of these will be like open pages. You can glue these together with a glue stick if you'd like. And there you have your book. Now, when you want to put it in to your black book, I want you to think about different creative ways to do this. So if I was going to add on into my contour line drawing page, and I wanted to add a little notebook here, I would be mindful of what side I'm going to glue down to my black book. I would use a sturdy glue, like a white glue, maybe even a hot glue, it depends. I would probably make a cover for my book that's a little larger than the pages. That's going to hide my funky folds here. So I'd make my cover about this big out of something sturdy and just glue that onto the top. Now, then think about how that book is going to stay closed. There's different techniques you can use, like corners. I could make paper corners here to kind of tuck those edges in when I'm done looking through the book. Pop-up books use that technique a lot. Or I can use a piece of string and glue that underneath and tie it in a bow on the top as well, and untie it as you go to open and utilize that little notebook. So this is a really easy way to kind of jazz up your book. If you want half the amount of pages, all you have to do is cut one of those rows completely off. So if you don't want it as bulky, that's an opportunity as well to do something kind of cool. But play with it, jazz it up, make it your own, have fun. See you on the next one.